Welcome to Active Living at the Active Life. I'm Dan Wooten, your host of a monthly television show that features activities and opportunities for adults 55 plus. Today we are joined with a guest from the Three Rivers Area Agency on Aging, Valerie Duke. She's a program specialist, and she has provided training and classes at all three of the Active Life Centers in Troup County, and we're glad to have you here today, Valerie.
It's wonderful to be here.
Valerie, I would like to learn a little bit about the classes that you teach, because I'm sure some of our viewers have not participated in them and don't realize of the opportunities that are provided through the Three Rivers Area Agency on Aging. I guess to start off with, what is the Three Rivers Area Agency on Aging?
The Three Rivers Area Agency on Aging covers our 10-county area, and we provide different programs and then also resources for people, say if they need help with meals, or if they need help with home care, or just we have the resources to direct them in the position that they need to go. Also, as you know, work with your site and several other sites as far as providing some programming. So we have all resources for everything that you can imagine, as far as even putting a ramp on your front porch if you needed a ramp. So we vet people, or our agency vets people and provides resources.
So it's kind of like a gateway to information about aging in any way. I mean, I know you'll provide also information on Medicare issues, as well as home care issues, respite care for caregivers, and just an amazing span. So if somebody were going to want to call or contact you to find out about these resources, is there a toll-free number they would call? Or we can put that on the screen later, but
there is a toll-free number.
A gateway number? Okay, they could. Okay, so we'll try to give that later.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about the classes that you provide, and some of them that you've provided for the Active Life, and we'll talk a little bit about the details of those classes.
Well, I think the most popular class that we offer, and we've offered it at the Active Life Center in LaGrange as well as Hugginsville, and we just started a class yesterday at West Point, as Tai Chi. And all of the seniors seem to love that. Well, everybody loves Tai Chi, but it gets them up and it gets them moving, and it's not a regular exercise. And most people that have taken the class have benefited as far as with their balance and just flexibility and movement, and it's not too hard on their joints. So it's a great program for any of the seniors that want to remain active, and it can be done seated as well.
Excellent.
So we've had some very good response, as you know, at your facility. Now
let's talk about what is Tai Chi. If someone is listening and not familiar with Tai Chi, it's some type of martial art.
It is a martial art. It's a martial art in slow motion. But it actually is thousands of years old, and it has been brought from China. And I know that a lot of people have seen the people out there watching slow movements, and everybody's in a group moving, and it has really hit here in a big way in the past, say, 10 years. And it's so beneficial for people with arthritis, and we teach it for people with diabetes, also for rehabilitation. A lot of the hospitals are using it now because it's much better for the patients. They've seen that they'll continue to do that once they get home from their rehab stay at the hospital. And but it also helps with dementia patients as far as remembering the moves.
Interesting.
And yes, so it helps with your brain, and it also makes you concentrate and focus more. So
the classes that you've been offering to the centers, how long are those classes, and is there a cost associated with those?
There's not a cost. Normally the Tai Chi classes, depending on which one they are, they're 8 to 12 weeks. And then, we offer the other classes as well. For instance, Matter of Balance. We just completed a class not too long ago. at LaGrange at the Active Life Center, and that's an 8-week program, and that's excellent for their balance. And also just because seniors have a fear of falling.
Yes.
And if we can help them with that, as far as just how to get out of bed and how to transfer their weight and those kind of things, it gives them confidence, because the worst thing they can do is sit down. The other classes that we teach are like diabetes self-management program, and that's a 6-week program. And then there's a diabetes education empowerment program, which is kind of diabetes one-on-one, and it's a fabulous program. Excellent. And we've had a lot of good response, as well as then we just finished a powerful tools class at LaGrange with for powerful tools for caregivers, and that is taking care of the caregiver. So
wow. So those are a lot of classes with diverse topics there. I mean, let's go back and look at those classes in a little bit more detail. The first one with Tai Chi, and you said it impacts balance, and what are some of the other benefits of taking that, and is it difficult to learn some of these moves?
It is not difficult to learn at all, and from a balance standpoint, it's excellent, because Tai Chi has a higher center of gravity than, say, yoga and some of the other classes, so you're not bending over. And it focuses on the yin and yang, or the balance, of your movements. So it focuses on that, and it also focuses on just clearing your mind out and focusing and concentrating. And I think that's beneficial, because I think sometimes we just get overloaded with everything happening in our lives, and it's the Jing, giving your brain a little break while you're focusing on doing the Tai Chi.
And that balance area, and you said there's a matter of balance is another class. You're right, falling is a traumatic event in an older adult's life. It'll forever change them. They end up breaking a bone, and so these classes, both the Tai Chi and the matter of balance, target that area of balance.
It sure does.
And what are some of the tips or training that you go through in a matter of balance to help prevent falls in older adults?
Well, a lot of it is just doing some exercises. We also bring a physical therapist in, or a nurse in, to talk with them regarding how to use a cane appropriately, or how to use a walker appropriately, because a lot of people are worried about, they're wanting to get out of the hospital and they're not listening to what the physical therapist is saying. Just focusing on making sure that your home is free and clear of, say, like throw rugs that you could trip and fall over, walking on uneven surfaces, grab bars in the bathroom. Just those kind of things. Are your medications affecting the way that you, your balance as well? Because some medications will do that.
Wow. So it's a multifaceted, multidisciplinary approach to fall prevention.
And we're not there to tell them what medications to take and what not to take, but sometimes people need to evaluate or talk to their physicians on what might be affecting their blood pressure or their balance, and sometimes they have other things going on, like vertigo, that can be causing the imbalance. But all of those things, having just what to do in an emergency. The same thing as with like the diabetes classes. So focusing on that.
Excellent. Well, let's move into the chronic disease class of diabetes. It surprises me the number of adults that do have diabetes today. Is that a growing number? It's
epidemic level. We're seeing so many people with type 2 diabetes. And it normally begins at age 45 and up. But we're seeing now more and more young kids with type 2 diabetes. You have some that are born with type 1, or that's when you do not make any insulin, but type 2 normally develops over your lifetime.
Okay. And what is the name of that class?
There's a diabetes self-management class, and that's kind of a more advanced class. And then there's the diabetes education empowerment program, which is a program that's a grant out of the University of Chicago. And it's kind of like the ABCs of diabetes. I would probably recommend you take that class first, and then the diabetes self-management class, because the diabetes self-management class kind of gets down in the weeds about how to plan your meals and do all of those things as far as what the appropriate portion size is. Whereas if you're a new diabetic or just been diagnosed, the diabetes education empowerment program is really good as far as just basic knowledge, how to monitor what your blood sugar should be on a daily basis, those kind of things. And we focus on, just all of the exercise, how food affects everything, and those kind of programs, and what to do if you get sick. So anyway, it's an excellent program. And we also have chronic disease self-management, which kind of covers all things. For instance, congestive heart failure, COPD, any of those chronic illnesses. But we seem to have a lot more people that have diabetes, and they're more well attended, those classes are.
So it again equips them with the knowledge they need to be able to stay healthy, avoid some dangerous situations that could come along if they're not managing.
And what to do if their blood sugar spikes too high, or what if it drops too low, and just about having those safety steps ready, or if somebody were to come in and find you unconscious in your home, what would they do? Do you have like an emergency call list?
Okay. So the last class you mentioned that was taught in LaGrange was for caregivers.
Yes.
And what is accomplished in that class? What do you try to provide for these caregivers?
Well, I think that it's one of my favorite classes to teach. That here, the caregiver, day in, day out, is taking care of that patient, the care receiver, and in most cases, the caregiver dies before the patient does, because they get so overwhelmed, and they don't take time out for themselves, and they don't treat themselves. So we focus a little bit on, just the emotions that you go through on a daily basis. You've heard the old saying, you can't see the forest for the trees, and sometimes we just try to get them to see the forest a little bit, but it's about taking care of yourself, as far as, going to get your nails done, or going out to lunch with friends, and asking for help. A lot of people that are caregivers will not ask for help. So we encourage them to do that, to get a little bit of a break, a respite. So that's what we focus on.
Excellent.
And it's an excellent class. Anybody that's a caregiver, and that can be a parent, that can be for a brother or sister, or that can be for a child with disabilities.
Wonderful. Excellent. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with Valerie Duke with the Three Rivers Area Agency on Aging.
Look ahead, don't look back. Hold on to hope that leads you through the night.
Nobody wants to be stopped by a law enforcement officer.
Everyone wants to feel safe.
So we've trained our officers to first listen and then explain.
We ask if you have contact with one of our officers, you listen, give him an opportunity to explain, comply with his requests, and if there's a problem, contact us so that we can investigate your complaint.
Listen, explain, comply, then complain.
Our safety and yours matters.
Welcome to Active Living at the Active Life. We're back here at beautiful White Tail Ridge, West Point Lake.
Yes.
And I'm joined with Valerie Duke. Thank you for being here, Valerie.
It's a beautiful day.
We've been talking about all different types of classes and exercise that can be done for older adults that are provided at the Active Life Centers in Troup County that you teach. Thank you for that. You do a wonderful job.
There. Yeah.
I want us to talk, we're here at West Point Lake, not far from home, but I want us to talk about travel. Travel is such an important part of older adults living.
It is.
Exciting living. When they retire, they love to travel, even if it's a short distance up to the lake, or it may be a day trip or a multi-day trip in our country, or then also outside of our country.
Yeah.
Now, Valerie, I want to talk to you about it because you are a big traveler.
Yeah.
And you love to travel, and you've traveled overseas many times, and you just got back from a trip. Tell us where you just came back earlier this week.
We did Russia and the Baltic states, and we also spent 5 days in Germany, and it was just fabulous.
Wow.
And the weather was incredible. I was very surprised at how pretty it was for it to be that far north. But St. Petersburg, Russia was beautiful. We were there 2 days. We did a cruise. We went to Germany for 5 days, and there's so much history there. And then we went on to a cruise, and we did St. Petersburg, Helsinki, Tallinn, Estonia, Sweden, Stockholm, Oslo, Copenhagen. It was just beautiful. Yeah.
That is amazing. So you're well traveled. You've gone a lot of places. Now, do you have you just recently got back from New Zealand?
Yes, Australia and New Zealand.
Okay.
That's beautiful there too.
So tell us some of the places you traveled other than that. I mean, trying to remember, Scotland was one?
Scotland was one.
Okay.
And we've done Barcelona, all of Spain, and Portugal.
And we're going to, at the Active Life, next March, we're going to Spain and Portugal.
Oh, you're going to love it. You're just going to love it. It's just a beautiful country. One of my favorites. Well, they're all my favorite.
And where else? Where are some other places you've been overseas?
We have, we've done Normandy. I know that you and the seniors just
France,
got back from France.
Yes.
So how did you like that?
Oh, it was amazing. You and I talked before how moving it was at Normandy, and think about the many American soldiers that gave their lives there on the Omaha and Utah beaches, and very, very moving, and just the appreciation of the French citizens too.
Exactly.
And to see the videos of when they were liberated by our country, how amazing that was to be freed from the Nazis. And so that was some amazing journey.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
So let me talk about generally, what drives you? I mean, you must love to travel. And so have you always enjoyed traveling since you were young, or what is it about traveling that draws you to go overseas and to experience new cultures that you've never been to before?
I think it's the fact that you're seeing new cultures, and it opens your mind up, and it makes you engage. You know, we kind of get in these ruts that it seems like we just keep going in the same pattern. But it challenges you, and people are just people all over the world. Really, they are. And it's so nice to meet all these wonderful people out there of different cultures.
Yes.
And you're trying different foods and all of the history and the artwork and all of these wonderful things, for instance, in the European countries. And, for instance, Russia. And it's wonderful to see all these things, and I think it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
It keeps you sharp.
Well, one thing that I was pleasantly surprised with is going to Ireland. Have you been to Ireland?
I've been to Ireland 3 times.
I felt like they are Southerners. they're so friendly. They're a very laid-back culture, and I thoroughly enjoyed interacting with the citizens of Ireland.
My husband says,
delightful.
Don't make eye contact because you'll have a friend for life. Now, he's Irish, so I can say that. But I love Ireland. I've been 3 times, and it's just a spectacular place to go. And Scotland is like that, too. I love Scotland.
So did you travel as a child?
No. My dad, God bless him, I'm from Alabama, and we went to Panama City Beach every year, once, early in the spring, and that was pretty much it. So as I got older, for a lot of us, we all work and have careers, and it's not until later in life that we get to do these things.
Yes.
And we're kind of cheap travelers, so we kind of
Okay.
we watch our pennies when we're going out there. So
But can you find a lot of very good deals
you sure
when travel?
can. You sure can. We have been very, very fortunate as far as with our airfare. You know, you don't have to ride in first class now. It's preferred, but you know, you don't have to. But doing some Airbnb things, so that's kind of nice. And Ubering in Australia and New Zealand, they don't do Uber, and in Europe. So, but it's just, we just kind of watch our money, and it's we plan out a year in advance, and so it's great, and we do our homework and look it over. It's wonderful. But y'all have done so many wonderful trips at the Active Life Center.
Yes, well, we try to do about 4 multi-day trips a year, 3 domestic and 1 international. So we just got back last week from Michigan.
Oh, wonderful.
And it was beautiful.
Did you go to Mackinac?
We went to Mackinac Island to the Grand Hotel and had the buffet there that's just unbelievable. We went to Holland, Michigan, where they had the Tulip Festival last week. And it just beautiful tulips everywhere, and a Netherlands windmill that had been transplanted there in the early 60s. And just beautiful. We got to tour that, and we also went to Detroit and toured the F-150 Ford pickup truck plant and see them make that, and museum. So that was very interesting. We take 2 long domestic ones. We've got, in fact, we're going to be signing up very soon for a Boston, Massachusetts, Maine trip.
Oh, that's fabulous. Yeah.
And so we'll spend about 8 days there. And that comes in September. And then we've got a shorter trip to Pigeon Forge to see shows.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, and you've done Hawaii too as well, haven't
yes,
you?
we've done Hawaii and Alaska. And so some of these we'll go back around again, because there's still a lot of interest or new people that come into the centers. With our 3 centers, there's a lot of different interest for different types of trips. And so we're trying to provide more. The other 2 centers, Hogansville and LaGrange, have begun traveling regularly. And like we got a trip to the Braves game with about 60 people that will go to the SunTrust Stadium. And so the LaGrange teams up with West Point, and Hogansville just took a trip along with LaGrange and West Point to the area picnic that was last week. And so there was about 600 people, I think, that was at that event. So
very nice. Very nice.
So a lot of interest in day trips and travel. I think they're going to the Talladega Motor Speedway next week as one of the day trips that LaGrange is taking.
Yeah.
So travel is expands your horizons, doesn't it?
It definitely does. And I think when you go with friends, for instance, like the trips that y'all do at Active Life, y'all have got such a strong network there. It's just fabulous. And I think that they feel more comfortable when they're in a group like that. So it works out better, especially if they have any mobility issues.
That's right.
And then you are a representative are there, so if something happens, you can take care of it. I mean, you can handle the situation, and they don't have to worry about that.
Right, because that does happen. Life is that way.
It does.
There's times I've had to go to the emergency room and to the hospital with individuals. But it's just a wonderful family kind of atmosphere.
It is.
Being able to eat breakfast with people, get to know new people. And so in Michigan, we just had a wonderful experience spending time together. On that. So,
that's great.
So we've got a lot of exciting trips that we're trying to plan and all. So as you look back on your experiences in Russia and Germany this past week, what stand out to be to you some moving highlights?
Well, the Hermitage was fabulous. So much gold, you know, you're kind of like, oh my goodness. I pictured it being poor, but it wasn't.
Okay.
I was actually surprised when I found out that women in Russia didn't drive up until just 20 years ago.
Wow.
And they actually have to have a sticker on the back of their car that denotes that there's a female driving. My husband asked if we could stop and get one for me.
Oh, shame on him.
But it just, you know, it's just opulence is pretty, and the history. So
That's an amazing thing. Food
was outstanding. We had borscht, and it had the hot borscht.
Okay.
And it was kind of a little nippy that day, just, you know, near the water, because we're near the Gulf of Finland, and it was wonderful food. And my husband is not a big foodie, but he enjoyed the food. And
we didn't even mention that because that's a big part of traveling.
it is.
It is the food. You get to experience different types of food.
Now, I could tell you he did not like Vegemite when we were in Australia.
Oh, okay.
I don't like that. I was told it's an acquired taste. It's like, woo.
Wow. Well, Valerie, it's been a joy to speak with you, and thank you for
fun.
spending time. Thank you for the classes you teach, and thank you for sharing your enthusiasm with travel with us today.
I love the
because
active life
I think that helps you stay young.
It does.
To travel, move around, and part of that is staying healthy and avoiding falls and managing your diseases,
Right.
chronic diseases especially. But thank you. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today out here at West Point Lake. What a wonderful day it's been. Beautiful sunshine, wonderful company. And so I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned some new things. And I encourage you, if you're an older adult, stay active. Don't sit on your couch and become glued there. Get out, enjoy this beautiful land we live in here, in our community, our country, and even the world. Thank you for joining us.
What can you recycle?
Does the city recycle plastic?
Yes, the city recycles plastic. We accept bottles, containers, and jugs.
Please rinse and clean them.
Because if you don't, they're considered contaminated. And contaminated items are thrown away.
Plastic bags are not accepted.
No grocery bags, no dry cleaning bags, and no trash bags. Does the city recycle tin and aluminum?
Yes, the city recycles those items. But all items must be rinsed and cleaned.
Don't put these items in plastic bags.
Because if they're not clean, they're contaminated.
And all contaminated items are thrown away.
Does the city recycle cardboard, newspapers, or magazines?
Yes, the city accepts these items.
Cardboard boxes need to be broken down.
And packing materials must be removed.
If the cardboard isn't broken down, it's contaminated.
And those items are thrown away.
If the items are too big, place it by the bin.
Did you know that 30% of our curbside recycling is contaminated and thrown away?
Please help our community and our environment and recycle smart.
Please help.
Recycle is smart.
Recycle smart! Recycle smart!